Mr. Culbertson.
Good evening.
And I'm terribly sorry to hear about Cornelia's past. Do you mind telling the crowd about her?
Well, it's such a loss for me. It's my second wife.
Well, it's going to be so hard for you.
Yes. Well, and you also your second mother.
I know. But
Yes.
she was such a wonderful lady and such a good mother to us.
Yes.
I was so young when my mother died, our mother died, but Sam and our mother died, that I'm not sure that I remember her, but I do sometimes get these pictures in my mind that I remember someone rocking us and loving us, and I'm sure that was Mother.
Yes. Well, Eliza died. She left us with 5 children from 6 months to 18 years old. So I was there to try to figure as to who was going to take care of the children. And of course, with Sam only being 12 at the time, and of course Ann here just being 5, I began a correspondence with Cornelia. Fine lady, knowledgeable. She was from Evansville. Originally, she grew up in New York, and she came to Evansville, and there she was known as the Belle of Evansville. Quite a lady. She was also a widow. Her husband had died a few years after they were married, and she went to work for the public school system, and she was a school teacher there. Well, our correspondence started in '66, one short year after Eliza died. Sometimes you might say it's a short time, but after a year of correspondence and boats between here and Evansville, she married. She agreed to marry me, and we were married there in Evansville. And it was January 10th, 1867. I brought her back to New Albany. Here she was quite the lady. Everyone in New Albany and Louisville thought she was the grandest thing. She helped prepare the house that we built that Eliza actually.
Yes, my mother and father, they had planned the home, but Mother passed away before it was ever started, so she never got to live in the home. But you did bring Cornelia there as the bride.
Yes, Cornelia was the bride there, and as you can see, the fine mansion there, she's done a fine job on decorating. But her big thing to the community was the orphanage home. She loved children, and so I don't know, Sam, you have some thoughts about the orphanage in which she was responsible for?
Well, while she was a sweet lady, she was a very strict lady. I know well because of the punishment closet on the 3rd floor of our home. Spent a few hours in there myself.
Yes.
Exactly, that's why it was built.
Yes, well, Cornelia was quite the lady.
Yes, she was.
Wonderful
Wonderful mother, too.
It was.
In fact, I had a letter that was given to me just recently from the society. I'd like to read it to you. A resolution on the death of Mrs. Cornelia W. Culbertson, President of the Orphans Home Society. We mourn the death of our beloved President, Mrs. Cornelia Warner Culbertson. Sterling qualities of mind and heart combined to make her a rare and lovely woman. As was most appropriately suggested by one of the among us, she was a star. During an official connection with the society from the foundation, her courteous Christian conduct, her just and fair dealing, her fidelity to the interests of the association, and her right judgment in all things inspired confidence and made her a trustworthy and reliable leader. Faithful in all the many important trusts that she held, she was faithful also and fervent in contributing freely of her own substance, her time, her talent, and to the advancement and support of the orphans' home. She exemplified by example the type of womanhood that she was. Possessed of a discriminating understanding of keen sense of judgment, a very tender conscience, and an unfaltering love of truth. Gone in the prime of a most useful life, the fullness of a gracious womanhood, her busy hands now folded, her generous heart now ceased to beat. Her ingenious mind, so remarkable in his comprehension of form and fair countenance, lay away forever from our sight, but her pure spirit has entered upon an immortal inheritance, the rest of paradise, the place prepared for her, irradiated by the Savior's love. We, in the words so admirably in the life of our now departed sister, to cherish most absolutely her Christian womanliness girded up in our minds of fresh fidelity, we thank God for her life and example that she is and was to the very end. Resolved that we forward her bereaved husband and family a copy of these resolutions with assurance and deepest sympathy in this our sad hour of their affliction. That the Secretary has requested to place the same upon the records of the Society, furnish a copy of publication to the Ledger Standard, the Louisville Commercial, and the Courier Journal. Resolved that the badge of mourning be worn for 30 days by order of this committee. That committee is some very known ladies here in the neighborhood. Mrs. W. Lewis, Mrs. W. Mahan, Mrs. Alex Dowling, Mrs. Bowman, Mrs. Short, Mrs. Kerr, Mrs. Kirtland, and Mrs. Bicknell. We do love these ladies for the things that they have done to remember us of Cornelia and society. We've even thought of possibly a memorial to Cornelia, probably in the state of an orphanage in her honor.
Cornelia would be so honored and proud of what our family has done for New Albany, and we don't need big monuments to show the city how we love, and she loved, and Father loves this city.
Thank you so much.